July 7th, a TikToker in Mexico had this wild idea to block a whole bridge with luxury cars just to film a video. As you might guess, this stunt didn't sit well with one of Mexico's most dangerous cartels. They were not amused, and the way they reacted flipped the TikToker's life upside down. Here are the crazy stories about TikTokers who got on the wrong side of the cartel. Sabrina Duran Montero. October 2023, Santiago, Chile. Sabrina Duran Montero, a highly popular TikTok star, was killed in broad daylight. Sabrina was known by pretty much everyone, whether they liked her or not. Some cartel hitmen shot her down in the street. It was a shocking moment, marking the worst point in her tumultuous involvement with one of Chile's most feared drug cartels. Sabrina's trouble started back in May 2022. She and her brothers got caught by the Chilean police for running a dog business in Peñaflor. Behind her lively TikTok posts, she was deep into some bad stuff, like handling the money, moving, and selling drugs. This put her at odds with another cartel in Las Praderas, making the area pretty dangerous. The government tried to stop it by raiding these gangs, but Sabrina tried to run away. They caught her though, and she ended up in jail. While in jail, Sabrina became even more famous on TikTok under the name @Katrina Guzman, kind of paying homage to the famous cartel boss El Chapo Guzman. She got so big online, earning nicknames like La Ina and TikTok Narco Queen. Her time in prison was tough. She even tried to escape once, but got caught again. Eventually, she got out on supervised probation. Once out, she lived it up, showing off her fancy lifestyle on social media, which made her a target. This life brought her fans also, but a lot of danger. One day, on her way to get her nails done, 3 hitmen attacked her. They pulled her out of her car, shot her several times, took her car, and later burned it. Someone filmed this awful scene. Sabrina was rushed to the hospital but didn't make it. Her murderers are still free, and no one knows why they killed her. It just shows how brutal and secretive cartel violence can be. It's there, but not always seen. Rodolfo Marquez. July 2022. There was this rich Mexican guy named Rodolfo Marquez, or Fofo Marquez as everyone called him. He was known for showing off his fancy lifestyle on social media. Fofo grew up loaded. His granddad made shoes for big shots, and his dad owned a bunch of gas stations. He was living it up with fancy cars and wild parties, something like out of a movie. But Fofo got a little too cocky. He decided to block a busy bridge in Guadalajara with 3 of his expensive cars just for kicks, and then bragged about it on TikTok. That stunt did not go over well. It blew up online, got him a ton of flack, and even the mayor threatened to sue him. TikTok wasn't having it either. They shut down his account. So, Fofo had to say sorry publicly and even cleaned up the bridge he blocked as a community service. Now, this is where things get really serious. His prank caught the eye of a big-time cartel, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, led by a guy named El Mencho. They're known for being super harsh and didn't take kindly to Fofo's bridge stunt, seeing it as a slap in their face. They made that very clear to him in a scary way. Scared out of his mind, Fofo holed up in his family's super secure mansion surrounded by guards. All his money and fame couldn't do anything against these cartel guys. He was shaken up and started living like a hermit, totally different from his flashy life before. Even when he started going out again, it was clear he was not the same, always looking over his shoulder, scared of what he'd stirred up by just showing off too much. It was a real wake-up call about how dangerous flaunting your wealth can be when you're catching the wrong eyes. Mohit Moore. May 21st, 2019. In a small part of Delhi called Najathgar, a fairly well-known TikTok star in India was killed in a shockingly brutal manner. He was just chilling in a photocopy shop, looking at his phone, when 2 guys with helmets and guns burst in and shot him. It was brutal. They fired so many bullets and then just ran off, leaving him there. It was a scary moment that showed how dangerous it can be when fame gets mixed up with the wrong crowd. Mohit was only 27 and had gotten super popular on TikTok pretty fast, like in just 8 months, and had over 500,000 people following him. But this made him a target in an area where there were lots of gang fights. He had this cool, tough guy image that a lot of young people liked, but it also made him stick out, and not always in a good way. At that time, TikTok itself was in hot water in India. The courts there even banned it for a bit because they were worried it could be bad for kids. They lifted the ban, but people were still arguing about it. Some thought that stars like Mohit were making things worse by showing off risky stuff. Turns out, Mohit had also accidentally gotten mixed up with some shady characters through a business deal. He had put money into a property that was tied to a gang. After the gang leader he dealt with was killed by another gang boss, the new leader wanted Mohit to pay up big time. But Mohit was like, No way, I was loyal to the other guy and refused. That was a bad move. The new gang boss didn't take that well at all and decided to make an example of him. He ordered the hit, and a young guy from the gang trying to prove himself did the job with his buddy. They didn't hold back. It was overkill. Later, the cops caught the young shooter, but the big boss disappeared, probably laying low from the police. This whole thing was just tragic. A young guy with a bright future in social media, his life cut short over some dark gang stuff. Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales. Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales, better known as El Pirita de Culiacan, had a tough start in life. He grew up in Sinaloa, right near the turf of the infamous drug lord El Chapo. But Juan's life was worlds apart. He never knew his dad, and his mom struggled to make ends meet, so his grandma helped out as much as she could. But life was hard, and Juan dropped out of high school, dreaming of something better in Culiacan. In Culiacan, Juan hustled through low-paying jobs and started drinking a lot, even though he was still underage. This habit actually led him to fame. He started a YouTube channel where he posted videos of himself downing huge amounts of alcohol. His wild, raw humor caught on, and soon he had millions of followers on Facebook and thousands on Instagram. He even got gigs in music videos and TV shows. But with all the fame, his risky lifestyle was taking a toll. Things took a darker turn when he began flaunting guns and fancy cars and partying with women on Instagram, sparking rumors that he was getting tangled up with drug cartels. However, he wasn't really involved with any cartels until one bad decision changed everything. Juan, in a drunken moment, publicly insulted a powerful cartel boss, El Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. This was a dangerous move since even seasoned criminals avoid messing with El Mencho. Ignoring advice to stay away from Jalisco, Juan went right into the most dangerous place for him. On December 18, 2017, his life tragically ended in a bar where cartel hitmen shot him over 18 times. His death was so brutal they could only identify him by his tattoos. His story ended up in Rolling Stone, not as a hero's tale, but as a harsh lesson about the deadly consequences of taunting one of the most feared men in the drug world. El Chanito. So, after his buddy El Pirata died, El Chanito got pretty bold and decided to publicly challenge El Mencho. He posted a crazy video online where he's holding a rifle, and there's even a little kid next to him holding one too, both of them throwing insults at El Mencho. They called him stupid and made fun of El Pirata for drinking so much just to get famous on the internet. You can guess how risky that move was, poking someone as dangerous as El Mencho, and yep, it led straight to El Chanito's downfall. After making that video, El Chanito tried to backpedal big time. He put out an apology saying he was mentally ill, hoping that would get him off the hook, but that didn't work. He disappeared from social media, and everyone pretty much figured he was gone for good. Then the real confirmation came in a gruesome way. Some anonymous person posted a video on Reddit showing El Chanito being killed by El Mencho's guys. It was indeed graphic and got pulled down fast, but the message was loud and clear. Don't mess with El Mencho. Pamica Montenegro. February 2018, Acapulco. Pamica Montenegro, known online as Nana Pelucas, was a big hit on social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube. She was famous for her fun personality, always wearing a big black afro wig, bold red lipstick, and large glasses. Initially, her videos were just lighthearted fun, like hosting trivia games in supermarkets. But then, she started tackling more serious topics, like corruption in the Mexican government. However, when she began pointing fingers at the independent cartel of Acapulco, a tough and secretive group, things turned scary. She received a bunch of death threats, and there were even rumors she was working with rival cartels, which she strongly denied. She kept saying her info was from reliable sources and that she wasn't involved with any criminals. Despite the dangers, she didn't stop exposing what the cartel was up to. Sadly, this bravery led to her being brutally killed. One day in early February, two guys walking into her place pretending to be customers ordered some beers and then shot her. She died from 3 gunshot wounds right there in her own space, a place that was meant to be for fun and community. What's even more shocking is what happened after her murder. They caught a guy, known as El Pipas, who was suspected of the killing, but unbelievably he was let go. The judge threw out the case despite a lot of evidence, which just shows the kind of corruption she was fighting against. Her death was a huge blow to Acapulco, adding to its reputation as a dangerous place and even leading to travel warnings. Pamica Montenegro's story is a sad reminder of how risky it can be to stand up to corruption and violence. Her legacy is a powerful testament to the cost of seeking the truth in a world filled with deceit and danger. Illuminati 6. So there's this kid, Illuminati 6, right? A bold teenager who didn't learn from the others who've messed with the dangerous folks before him. he decided to take a jab at El Mencho online, which, as you can guess, made waves both on the internet and beyond. This gutsy move got everyone online super worked up, sparking loads of reactions and warnings. Everyone was buzzing about how brave this teen was. But then, things took a weird turn. The CJNG, that's El Mencho's notorious cartel, known for hitting back hard, didn't respond. Not a word. And their silence? Yeah, it was super creepy. Out of nowhere, Illuminati 6 suddenly says he's sorry, just like that.
Las consecuencias, me dejé llevar por los seguidores y pido disculpas, se te quiere.
It shook everyone up and got people wondering what went down behind the scenes. Did the cartel threaten him, or did someone even scarier happen to make him back down so fast? No one knows for sure, and now there's all this mystery and wild guesses flying around about what scared this daring kid into apologizing.